If you have or have ever thought about having an hours baby, this episode is for you. Welcome, welcome. I am so excited about today's guests because they are talking about something that I think isn't talked about enough with stepmoms who are thinking about or already have hours babies. They're also speakers at the upcoming Stepmom Summit, our 6th annual, which is an amazing lineup of 30 speakers. Morgan Lindahl and Amanda Gonzales are two of them, and they're going to be going in deeper on this topic. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. And if you do, head over to thestepmomsummit.com and grab your free spot so that you can go in even deeper with them at our main event, September 14th through the 18th. You're going to really love it. So these two amazing stepmoms, Morgan Lindahl and Amanda Gonzales, are joining me today. Morgan is a children's book author, blended family advocate, and mom and stepmom of 5. Yes, 5. I have 4, and I was in awe when she told me she had 5. Her own family experience is what inspired her to write How Many More Days, a book for the children who stay home when their siblings leave. Amanda is a children's therapist, behaviorist, and blended family mom of 4. She has spent more than a decade helping kids in blended families understand and work through all the big feelings and challenging behaviors that can come with it. And together, Morgan and Amanda have created the book How Many More Days and are helping blended families better support the children whose experiences are often overlooked. I'm really excited to bring them to you. And so let's dive right in. Morgan and Amanda, welcome to the Stepmom Diaries. I'm so excited to have y'all here.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yes. So, okay, I always like to start with my guests and find out what their stepmom origin stories are. So you're both stepmoms and moms, and you have the yours, mine, and ours families. So give me each of your kind of versions of what your stepmom origin story is, like how you met your partners and, got into all of this, and how you guys met each other and started working together.
Perfect. So I met my husband back in 2017, and he was actually just recently divorced. I met him a few months after his divorce, and he had 2 kids, 2 toddlers, a 2 and a 3-year-old. And I was just graduating college. He was in his career. And when you're at that point, you're like, how do I meet people right now? And so we, of course, met on a dating app. We're one of those stories.
Love
We
it.
met on a dating app, but the second we met, we were inseparable, and I saw him every day after that. So they were 2 and 3. They're now 12 and 11. And we have 3 children together, 3 ours babies who are 6, 4, and 2. So we have a full
You've got a handful.
Handful is an understatement, but it is so much fun. It's so great. We have a party.
Love it. I love it. That must be such a lively household with all of those kids.
Very much so.
How about you, Amanda?
We also have a lively household. I met my husband almost 6 years ago, and I had 3 bio kids at the time. They are 14, 11, and 8. And then we had our ours baby together, and she's 3. So we just have a big blended family. I also was a stepmom for about 8 years in my previous marriage, so I kind of have both sides of the coin.
Yeah, I love it. And how did you guys get connected and meet and start working together?
We actually met at a job. I was doing behavior therapy for kids with autism. This is about 12, 13 years ago. And Amanda was the BCBA, or the behaviorist, on my caseloads. So she would write behavior plans, and I would implement the behavior plans with all of the kids that I worked with and families. So we were in homes every single day, and I just got to see the magic that she brings to families. It's amazing.
I love that. That's so special and so wonderful that y'all stayed in touch, and now you're doing this amazing thing together, which we're going to talk about.
Well, it's so funny because we literally parted ways. We worked together for about 5 years, and then I got married, moved away, she moved away, and just in the last couple years we reconnected, and it's been really special.
I love that. That's so great. Well, let's start before the baby. So a lot of stepmoms really wrestle with the decision to have an ours child. And it's a hard thing to bring a new child into a dynamic where there are already kids and you're kind of worried about, all the things that could bring with it. What were the fears that you both struggled with in doing that? And what was something that surprised you once you had your first ours baby?
I think for me, I've always just wanted to be a mom. It's been my greatest wish and desire for my life and for my future. And so I never wrestled with the choice of, or the decision of, do I want to have children or not? And do I want to have an ours baby? Do I want to make our family bigger? I knew I wanted that with everything in me. And so I was almost kind of the opposite, where I don't think I thought about it 1 second. I think I was just really excited to be a mom. And I didn't realize the complexities that would come with a blended family and with having an ours babies until that baby was actually here.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I would say just the fear of, I always wanted to make sure I was dividing my time appropriately. And that was really hard, where I felt like I was giving my all to this new baby. And I was making sure that my stepkids didn't get shafted and I could still care for them because they were little, right? Like I came
Yeah.
into this with little kids. So I was in mom mode 100%. I didn't get these teenagers coming in. I had 2
Yeah.
little toddlers running around that I was taking care of at home full time.
Yeah.
So add the baby in the mix. That was a pretty
It's a
tricky
lot.
thing. There's guilt involved. Am I showing love in the same way? Like I wanted nothing more than my kids to feel love for me, my stepkids included, and feel like I was treating them the same as best as I could with our
Yeah.
dynamic. And then I don't think a lot of fears came until that ours baby was a little bit older. I think some more complexities come in as they grow older and they're understanding what's going on.
Huh?
And then it becomes really difficult, really
Yeah,
difficult.
no, 100%. Yeah, I think these dynamics are so challenging, and it's something that, a lot of people don't think about when there are already kids and then you're having your baby. People are like, "Oh, that's amazing," and then I don't think that, people really think about the fact that there are all of these different emotions and stuff that come along with it for the moms and stepmoms. And so, Amanda, you had your kids and you then brought ours babies in. Like, tell me about that experience. What were you worried about and what was kind of different than you thought?
Yeah. So I was similar in that my husband and I both knew we wanted a big family. We wanted to have an ours baby right away. We had talked about it when we were dating. We definitely wanted to have another kiddo. I did have some fears going into it. I think what a lot of stepmoms and blended family moms feel similarly in that, how are they all going to connect? Like, are they going to love each other and bond the same way as if they were full biological siblings? What's
Yeah.
that going to look like? I was also worried about the age gap. My oldest was almost 10. And I was
Mm,
like, okay, like that could be a little bit different with a brand new baby. So I had some, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of nervousness about just
yeah.
how it was actually going to play out. But I think what really surprised me was, first and foremost, like they bonded really quickly. I think we were really lucky and fortunate that my kids were really excited about a pregnancy and really excited about a little sister. And then I put a lot of time into kind of preparing them and helping them feel included in the process, which I think really helped with that initial bond.
Mhm.
But like Morgan said, like the surprising part of it really was the struggle for my youngest, for our ours baby. I was not
Uh-huh.
anticipating the range of emotions she would feel and her siblings leaving week to week. She really goes from being the little princess of the family, the baby of 4,
Yeah.
to an only child so abruptly. And for her, I call her my little Spitfire. She's got big feelings. She's a strong-willed little 3-year-old. And so
Uh-huh.
for her, there's some big frustrated feelings. There's some big sad feelings when she has to say goodbye every week. And as a therapist, I think I knew there might be some adjustment, but as a mom,
Uh-huh.
actually seeing that and going through that was pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's different when it's happening in your family. And that is so hard because, especially at her age, it's not like you can logic with them and
Yeah.
explain everything that's going on. And they do have big emotions. They don't know how to express them.
Yeah.
And, they don't necessarily understand why, like, their favorite people are all of a sudden gone, but then
Mhm.
back, but then gone again, and then back.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no easy way of explaining it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about y'all's identities as mom, because you go from, Morgan, in your case, stepmom, to all of a sudden having this kind of mom identity. And Amanda, in your case, mom, to all of a sudden more kids, but in a different dynamic. And you've been a stepmom before. How is that identity different? Kind of having those two roles under the same roof.
For me, I think it did a lot of good for me in a lot of ways. I think as a stepmom, you come in with just such good intentions and you just want to help, you just want to be there. And it ends up leading to stepmoms almost doing too much.
For sure.
Yeah, it really happens. And there really are good intentions behind it. But finding your place when that place is constantly moving is a very, very tricky dynamic. And it tends to, I feel like a lot of stepmoms are type A control freaks. And
I mean, I think we've discussed before we got on that all three of us are.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is very good in a lot of ways and very hard in a lot of ways. And I think I realized once I had my first baby, like I can't do it all. This is a lot. I can't do it all. I have to let some things go and I have to fail sometimes. I have to be okay with failing. I have to be okay with my day not looking perfect, with bonding not looking perfect, me not being able to attend all the activities and check off my to-do list. I think that happened for sure. Postpartum really just does that to you. But I also feel like I gained this confidence when I became a mom that I didn't have as a stepmom. I knew my intentions were good, but I think as a mom, when you're finally able to make decisions for your child, when you have that control, you have that peace, you have that confidence, like I'm going to make this decision for my kid and you're able to make that. Because as a stepmom, you don't have that fully. I think
That's so
that brings
true.
like a peace and a confidence into your home that ends up translating to your stepchildren too. I feel like that confidence that I obtained as a mother, I was then able to be like, you know what? Like, I do know what's best for my kids and I do know what is best for them in my home. Like, and
Uh-huh.
that is what I can control. So I think that honestly did a lot,
Yeah.
a lot of good for me. I feel like I
Yeah.
had a motherly connection to my stepkids, which I know not all stepmoms feel that way, but I came in very early. And so I
Yeah. They were
consider
young.
myself lucky.
Yeah.
They were little. So if they were how old they are now, 11 and 12, I would not have the same connection.
It's a totally different
It's
relationship at that
very
age.
different. So I can't relate to coming in much later. I came in very, very early, but I do feel like, I don't know, when you have that moment, like as a mother, when that baby is laid on your chest and you have that sacred, there's just something different. There's something
Yeah.
different and there's something sacred about having your baby. You gain an empathy that
Hmm.
you couldn't have had otherwise. Like you can really try to develop and work to develop. And I felt like I did that, but you gain an empathy for bio mom in this situation. You gain empathy for your stepkids having to leave their mother
Uh,
every week and leave their father every week. For me, I really feel like having a baby brought a lot of good and a lot of perspective into our situation in our home.
yeah. How do you think, I mean, because your stepkids were young,
Yeah.
2 and 3. I mean, how do you think that they shifted how they saw you, or did they at that age?
Do you know what? That's a good question. I think they were really excited. I think there became a new little piece to our home that brought connection for me and them. Like we were
Uh-huh.
now sharing something, Like, yes, we were sharing their dad, but it was special. It was on a different level. And I was very intentional about it. I don't think it just happens and stays that way. I think you have to be very intentional about your connection and creating a bond for them. Like we went and picked out presents for the baby. They got to pick a stuffed animal and a blanket, but I let them pick out the same things for them. Like it was a gift from me and baby
Yeah.
to them. So they had
Love it.
matching stuffed animals, matching loveys, and that
Yep.
we started off with that like connection and bond. And then we
Mm-hmm.
kept continuing that very intentionally. And so I think just giving them a big brother and big sister role and responsibility led them to feel more connected to me, connected to their
Yeah.
sibling, me feel connected to them, and just all around a better experience
Yeah.
for everyone.
I love that. And that actually underscores something that I always say to people that are not in step families when I kind of explain the difference
Yeah.
between step families and first families is that we have to do things with more intention, just generally. Like we have to really think
Yeah.
through all of our relationships, how we handle things. I mean, it is just so I love kind of hearing that in this context. I think that's fantastic. And Amanda, so you are a children's therapist. You spent
Yeah.
15 years, doing that before living it out at home. And of course, as I'm in training to do that, tell me how your clinical training helped you and what you saw that kind of you weren't prepared for as a
Yeah.
clinical therapist.
Yeah, definitely. So actually in my early career, I spent a lot of time doing attachment therapy.
Well, that comes in handy here.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It really does. But we were focusing a lot on how young children relate to their caregivers and their family members and how that relationship can help with development, social emotional development, but also in their future relationships. So I spent a lot of years really focusing on that with parents and children, which was amazing. I love that work. But when you're looking at it from that lens, you look at a couple foundational pieces. Those are predictability and consistency in the environment. So creating an environment where expectations remain the same, where the routines and the structure and the day-to-day life remain very consistent, where kids know what to expect and they find safety in that. And that is the foundation, as we're taught in attachment therapy, of creating those healthy bonds and healthy relationships. So fast forward to being in a blended family, and even as a stepmom previously, I learned very quickly that what predictability and consistency looks like is different.
Yes.
I couldn't create this perfect little world for my children to grow up in. Going with the flow is the name of the game in blended families and in step families. So being able to navigate what does creating a stable and safe environment for my kids look like when schedules are changing, when family dynamics are ever evolving. That was something that was really tricky for me to shift in my therapist expectations versus my mom reality. Like it was just like, okay, these things don't match. And how do I find a way of giving my kids that same support? And I think that's what Morgan and I have really aimed to create is how do we offer that same sense of safety for the kids who are in this dynamic that changes so often?
Yeah. Well, that's actually a perfect segue because I wanted to talk a little bit about the work that you guys are doing together because you have this fabulous book for, families that have the hours baby and the experience. So tell me about how you decided to do this and how it all kind of came about because I think Morgan, you noticed that your kids were struggling with this dynamic of like their siblings leaving, and so tell me about that journey.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I feel like some of the complexities didn't start until my kids were just a tad bit older, until they realized what was going on after we explained, hey, like they have two houses. We share your brother and sister with their mom. And that definitely takes some time and it takes repeated conversations to help, teach them and to have them understand what's going on. But Cameron, nothing prepared me for the heartbreak that I would feel as a mother when you watch your little girl literally, Cameron, chase a car down the street, like running, like, please stay, like, please don't go. That changes you. It changes you. It just does.
Yeah.
When you see your kids suffer and struggle, you suffer and struggle. And so I saw that and I remember like just thinking, what can I do? Like, what can I do for her? I don't want her to come in the house and be like, you're fine. You're okay. And I think that's a very common phrase that parents use, especially when they're feeling emotions themselves.
Yeah,
I think as a stepmom, I mean, a mom in general, man, like to stay regulated is a big task and it takes a lot of work and effort. But I don't know, to have all of those emotions and then have your kid feeling these emotions and then your stepkids feeling emotions on transition day, it is a lot. And it can be really easy to just shut it down and try and get rid of the tears and like, you're fine. You're okay. This is our life. We just do it. I think it can be very easy to have that perspective, but I knew I didn't want that. I knew I wanted to really be able to help my kiddo. I knew I wanted to have something in my life that could help them move through the emotion and work through it and not just like say goodbye and try and push it aside. And so I looked for resources. There's nothing out there. Like it takes one Google search to realize there is nothing out there for an ours baby for the kids that have to stay home. There are some resources, not great ones for the kids who have two homes, but there is
Yeah.
absolutely nothing for the ours baby. And so for years, I really just took notes on my phone, honestly. I took notes on my phone of what I wish I had. I had this idea for a story, and I had the name of the story, and I had the characters in the story. I had the storyline. I had all of this just in my phone. And it was just like a one day thing. I feel like we all have our little notes section on our phone of our ideas and our
Totally.
dreams. And
Yeah.
everyone has that, right? And we're all just waiting for that
Yeah.
time to use it. I had kind of forgotten about it, to be honest. And then I had a really, honestly, a tricky moment in our blended family. And when I say tricky, I mean like fall to your knees, like, what do we do? And I think every stepmom can relate to that.
Yes.
And every mom, we all have our breaking moments where we're just like, how do we figure out this impossible situation when there's so many emotions involved? And I was carrying a lot of big feelings myself.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I realized I'm done putting all of my energy into everything I'm frustrated about and sad about and everything that's unfair about life and about blended family. And I thought, I'm going to turn this into something good. Like, I
love
have
that.
to focus my energy on something good. And I felt this immediate feeling to hop on my phone, look at those notes, and go make it happen and go write a book. And so I started writing, and I started pouring my time and my heart into that. And I thought, I don't want just a cute story out there. That's not needed. I want a tool. I want a
Yeah.
resource. I want to elevate this. I want to bring this to a whole other level and create something that's never been done before. And create it for an audience that might not even know they need this.
Yeah, totally.
And so that's when I picked up the phone and called Amanda. And I was like, I told her my idea and I said, you in? And she...
Yeah, absolutely. I cried on the phone as she was explaining her idea to me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that is my daughter. I could not relate
Yeah.
more. So I was just thrilled to be a part of it.
I love this. And I think your point about resources for families that may not even know they need it. I mean, I think women who, and I know my husband and I did 5 rounds of IVF. We were not successful in getting an ours baby. But I know when we were doing that, we had a lot of conversations about, I had 4 stepkids. What is this going to look like? And,
Yeah.
we had a very high conflict situation. And having some resources around that just to be able to think through before you get into that, I think would have been so helpful, So I love that you guys are doing this. And we're going to talk more about this at the Stepmom Summit, which I can't wait for. And we're going to give women with ours babies and maybe women who are just thinking about ours babies a lot of food for thought. In the meantime, before we wrap up, tell me one thing that you would tell one of these women who is either expecting an ours baby, just had an ours baby, thinking about an ours baby. What's one piece of advice you would tell?
For me, I think it would be to live intentionally. Choose the vibe that you want in your home. What's the ultimate goal that you want? What do you want for your blended family? Ignore the noise. Ignore everyone telling you what lane you need to be in and how you need to parent and who you need to be and how you need to show up.
Yeah.
And you decide the goal and the vibe for your home, your family, your marriage, your kids. And I think when you focus all of your energy on that, it gives you something to come back to. It gives you something to stay grounded in, so that when all of the noise is coming, you can say, no, this is what I want for my home. This is what I want for my family. It gives you a goal, and then you become very intentional with the way that you parent. You become intentional with your words. You become intentional of including your stepchildren in with your ours babies and creating that bond if that's what you want. If you want that love and that closeness and that bond, you'll get it. If you choose that to be your goal and your vibe, you're going to get it. It's hard. It is hard. It does not come super easy. But I think if you live your life with intention, it brings a lot of power and calmness to your home.
I love that. I think that is excellent advice. What about you, Amanda? What would you say?
I think self-compassion, to hold self-compassion for
Yes.
yourself as a mom and as a stepmom. This is not easy stuff. It's not easy blending a family.
No.
It's not easy being a stepmom. And it's certainly not easy watching your children go through these big feelings and not always having the perfect answer, not always knowing what to say and do. And so to create that self-compassion for yourself, where even if it's just pausing and taking a breath before you're problem solving, before you jump into stepmom mode to fix things,
Totally.
just giving yourself that space to be like, okay, like I can do this, right? I think one of the greatest gifts we can give our children is a calm and regulated nervous system. And that only comes from pouring it back into ourselves and giving ourselves that patience and that self-compassion.
I love that. And I mean, speaking of gifts, you guys are a gift to the stepmom community and to the families that have ours babies, because this work is really, I love what you're doing. I think it's so important. And I'm so glad to have you here. And I'm so excited about what you're going to talk about at the Stepmom Summit. So, guys, if you're listening to this, you need to go to thestepmomsummit.com and get registered so that you can come and we'll be live. Ask Morgan and Amanda all the questions you have. And Morgan and Amanda, where can folks find you between now and then? And where can they buy your book?
Yeah, so our website is forthekidswhostay.com. That is our Instagram handle. TikTok, we got a TikTok, Cameron. Never used that before.
Excellent. I love it.
We're on TikTok and Facebook for the Kids Who Stay, and you can find us there. Our website has our book available, so we're so excited for that. I mean, this book is truly one of a kind, Cameron. It is one of a kind, and as a mom and stepmom with an ours baby, I really don't even need to explain more than, like, you know, the grief, you know, the sadness, you know, the heartache, you know, the longing for their siblings when they leave. And you know how difficult transition days can be and all the in between up till they see them again. And so to have a story for your family that actually mimics those goodbyes and the hellos and all the in between is special. And we just can't wait to share it with the world. We are so excited.
Yeah, well, I am so excited for you. And y'all know, if you're listening to this right now, you know that I feel very strongly about putting things out in the world that are research and evidence based and not just feels based. And you guys have done that. You know, you have taken this evidence based, really solid approach to this book. And so, guys, go and pre-order this. It's going to be great. I'm so excited for you. And I will see y'all at the summit. I'm so excited to do that in a few weeks, at least from where we're recording. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron. We're so excited.